I'm just going to close my network editor for a minute, and what we'll start to do now is we will just start to give it some basic catchment data. Obviously we're running rational, so there's the three things we need. We need a C factor, which we've already set, an intensity, which will pick off our rainfall data file that I've given you, and an area. And the area will be, we will pick that up from the area of the polygon. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is create a model called catchment. That's the model that we identified in that catchment utilities model we've already set. This is where it's going to come and look for it when we run the editor. I'll pick a colour red. Okay. And all I'm going to do is, using my CAD tools, I'm going to draw some basic catchments to go into my pipe system. Now, depending on where you start to draw it, will depend on how it, which manhole it tries to look at to assign it to. So under the CAD tools up here on the left hand side, we haven't used these for a couple of weeks, so just remember it's the third one down. I'm going to come across to the third from the left line string. My first catchment is going to drop into this manhole, so I'm going to start drawing somewhere down close to that manhole. And this first catchment, I'm going to drop those two lots into that manhole. Going to come across, start drawing another one. This next manhole, I'm going to have a connection down here, so just this lot will be entering the pipe at this point. I'll go and just, once I've drawn a couple of these in, I'll talk a bit more about why I'm picking the areas. Okay, this next one up again, the connection's going to be down at this manhole. So this, there'll be a catchment here to drop into that manhole, this one will drop into that. So my catchment, again, I'm going to start down at the corner of the manhole. This time it's only going to be one lot. This time I've got a connection to a manhole up here, but I'm actually going to, all three of these via connections are going to drop into this section of pipe. Start down next to the manhole. This time I've got two sections. This time just the one. This time just one. So I'm making these decisions based on where I've placed the manholes, okay? And I'll show you in a second, don't panic. So as you can see, for instance, this one here, this lot here, this lot here is going to drop into this manhole, okay? So that is, for the catchment for this manhole is there. The catchment for this lot here is all going to drop into this manhole because it's the downhill side. So the catchment is just that one lot. In an area where I haven't needed to place an extra manhole, I haven't got a massive change in grade, I haven't got a massive change in direction, so I've managed to get away without sticking a manhole in every boundary. This lot here is going to drop into that manhole. This pipe, I'll have a connection here, so this pipe here is going to contain all of the stormwater off this lot and all of the stormwater off that lot, so my catchment is both lots. Does that make sense? Or is it a bit... No? Some blank looks, I'll take that as a no. Let's have a look a bit further down. What I'm saying is that all of the stormwater for these two lots, it can't get into this manhole up here. Obviously it's going to be going downhill. And we're trying to analyse how many lots we can get into each individual pipeline, okay? So that we can each, as it goes, it's going to run a rational formula on each one of these catchments, each one of these pipes. So we try, depending on how our layout, our reticulation layout has ended up, we've got to then analyse and think about how many lots are going to go into each pipe. How much stormwater is going to come off. In this case, the catchment size will be 1,000 square metres, say, with a catchment coefficient of 0.65 and a rainfall intensity of 110 mils, which is going to come off our rainfall data. Okay, and it's going to run that equation for that catchment. Further down, the catchment's not going to be so big because, okay, this upstream stuff here is dropped into this manhole, so this catchment has the catchment area will be smaller. It will just be one lot. Does that make sense? What we'll do is once I've done this, I'll show you how it summarises, and maybe hopefully it'll become a bit clearer. This is one of the trickier parts of stormwater design, is the catchment analysis. Okay, the software itself is fantastic at solving the equation, but if we don't understand what we're putting in, and if we put the wrong stuff in, then the design's quite flawed. Okay, so hopefully as we go through it'll get clearer. If not, then we'll come back to it.
Steve.
Yep.
What happens when we hadn't placed the manhole inside the property, into the private areas?
You mean if the manhole was out over here?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, because all you'd do is you'd be having a connection running from that manhole into the lot. Okay? It's the placement. This is how council like them from a maintenance point of view. It means that they don't have to go and dig up the road reserve, which is why they're placed there. But if for whatever reason they are, for instance, on North Shore, wastewater manholes traditionally under the footpath, you just end up with a longer connection. So instead of a short stub connection within the lot, it'll run from outside the lot, and it'll be 2.5 metres, 3 metres long. So it's just a matter of working out. Obviously, if I'm trying to service these lots, even if it's in the road or if it's not in private boundary, I'm getting it as close as I can, so that I can, as practically as possible, get the stormwater or wastewater into that line. Make sense?
Yeah.
I'll just pause this. So you've got to decide on this one, is this one going to go into that man or that man? Start to think about where it slopes. If you're going to get both of those into that man, then that catchment. know if you're going to get this out of that manhole,
So
and
there's
that
the
catch will
manhole,
come
there's
as
a
well.
joint.
So you're just going to think about, it's up to you how you do it.
So it doesn't touch the manhole.
So all I didn't touch the manhole. All it's going to do is, I can override any decision it makes, but by starting my poly, for instance on this one, by starting at a point close to the manhole, it will automatically try and assign this polygon to that manhole. If I don't like the decision it's made, then I'll go up to the on my catchment tab, that top left hand. I can overwrite any decision that's made by using the catchment tab. Okay, in the same way that I can overwrite any default. If it's made an assumption that's wrong, I can fix it. So what I'll quickly do then, we've already set pit names, set pit details. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to click on set catchments. Okay, so I've opened up my network editor again, and I'm going to click set catchments. Right. So there is one tiny, there is under the Unitec drainage.4d file, there are a couple of manholes that don't allow it to the catchments to be added. So we'll just make sure we'll get these teething problems sorted out in class today and make sure that whatever you use for your assignment is nice and easy. If I now come down to my plan view, you can see that this manhole is the one I'm editing, so that's highlighted. I have my arrow to show flow direction, and it's now highlighting the polygon that it's used to analyse the catchment for that particular manhole. If I start moving back up the line, you see that my catchments are being highlighted. I can also come into my models to add and turn on that catch label, and you see that it's named them depending on which manhole it's going into, and it's given me an area in hectares for the rational formula.
Can you do that again, sir?
Yep, so all I've done is I've clicked set catchments. When I've done that, because previously under our global utility models we've told it that any catchment label will be in a model called catch label. So once I've done that, once I've set pit catchments, I've just come into my models to add and turned on the catch label model. And you can see that no matter, depending on which manhole I'm editing at the time in the network editor, it highlights the catchment polygon that I've drawn for it.
Sorry, Mike. If somebody's wanting
So just, oh yeah, you're not editing anything on it. So click on the right. No, onto your drainage line. You've got to tell it which string that you want it to edit first. There you go. Just remember, every time you open up that network editor, you have to re-pick the line that you want to edit. You know, some of these will have subdivisions with 35 different pipes, different pipelines. Okay, now, if you're having trouble getting it to link to a catchment, this is what I'm saying, and I think it's the manhole called MH1050. There's something in the background file that for whatever reason won't allow you to edit it and assign catchments. So you'll just have to change the manhole type to MH, or we'll just go through and see which ones work and which ones don't, and then we'll just make that the default from yeah, so one thing I really don't like about this software is it won't let you do a global select to change all these things. You have to manually go through and change the manhole.
And what do you put here? Let's see.
So if you hit set captions now,
And then you set captions. Oh, you saw bonds is like disappeared.